Sidney Coulson, Ari McDonald out for the season, bro. This is not good, guys, at all.
Disaster. Absolute disaster for the Indiana Fever.
Announced, it's breaking news that 2 point guards, for the Indiana Fever, both of these young women, both of these ladies will no longer be able to participate in this current season.
We lost 2 very, very competent players, including the starting point guard that was filling in for the other starting point guard.
Fever front office has released an injury update for the team moving forward.
Sidney Coulson, left ACL tear, and Ari McDonald, broken bone in right foot.
The Indiana Fever aren't just in trouble. They're a slow-motion train wreck. 2 key players, gone. Done. Out for the rest of the season. That's not a setback. That's a death sentence for any hope they had. The roster is now a patchwork mess, barely stitched together, and the point guard position, absolutely gutted. And now, like some desperate last-ditch Hail Mary, the team's entire weight is dumped onto one name, Caitlin Clark. Forget team strategy. This is survival by leaning everything on a rookie to drag the carcass of a season across the finish line. Support her if you want, but let's be honest, this isn't inspiration, it's desperation.
Well, this is the kind of update I never want to have to give. And this is a bad one, and it affects the same position.
The Indiana Fever season didn't just take a gut punch, it got steamrolled, stomped on, and left twitching in the dirt. No amount of pep talks, hype videos, or blind optimism could have braced the fans or the players for this level of collapse.
It's time to put up the Caitlin Clark bat signal.
In one brutal night, a night that should have been nothing more than a routine checkpoint on the playoff path, the Fever's season was sucker punched twice in the exact spot they could least afford it. The most critical position on the floor wasn't just weakened, it was gutted, leaving a gaping hole that screams season over.
Coulson sustained an anterior cruciate ligament ACL tear. Sidney then to her ACL in her left knee during the first quarter of the game.
The meltdown started early. First quarter, no collision, no dirty play, just veteran guard Sidney Coulson collapsing to the floor like her body finally gave up on her. The silence in the arena said it all. This was bad. Hours later, the inevitable gut punch landed. A torn ACL in her left knee. Season over. Career clock ticking louder.
I think there's a chance that wraps her career. I mean, at that age, it's going to be very tough.
For any player, that's a season-ending injury. For Coulson, deep into her mid-30s, it's the kind of blow that doesn't just end a season. It hangs a question mark over the rest of her career. Harsh truth, this might be the last time we ever see her in a Fever uniform.
You pretty much have to be Sloot good, and Sloot's going to be playing for minimums if she wants to come back.
ACL rehab is a brutal, lonely grind, the kind that chews up months and spits out whatever's left of you. And at her age, the fear isn't just, will she be back next season? It's, will she ever be back at all? This could very well be the final bitter chapter of her WNBA career.
That's kind of a sad one. Because Sid Coulson, in her defense, has had some big games. There's been games she's been a steady pair of hands.
This isn't just losing a player, it's ripping the spine out of the team. She wasn't some bench warmer with a jersey number. She was the rare voice of reason in a room full of egos, the one who actually kept the chaos in check. She backed up the starters without whining, led without grandstanding, and gave the rookies a clue about what professionalism looked like. Now she's gone, and what's left? A leadership vacuum, a culture in freefall, and a roster that suddenly looks a lot weaker, both on paper and in spirit. Good luck filling that crater.
While Ari McDonald suffered a broken bone in her right foot during the fourth quarter. My goodness, guys.
This isn't a roster change, it's a self-inflicted amputation. She was the glue holding this mess together, the one person who could cut through the petty drama and keep the team from eating itself alive. While others chased stats and spotlight, she quietly did the dirty work. Steady hands, sharp mind, zero diva energy. Now she's out the door, and what's left is a circus without a ringmaster. Egos unchained, discipline out the window, and a lineup that suddenly feels hollow and brittle. You don't replace someone like that. You just watch the cracks spread.
And Ari McDonald broken bone in right foot, will both miss the remainder of the season after suffering injuries during our game in Phoenix on Thursday.
And just like that, another point guard was wiped off the board for the season. For McDonald, the timing couldn't be more vicious, right when she'd clawed her way back into relevance. She'd been running the floor like a general, cranking up the tempo, and flipping the switch on defense to ignite the team. After grinding her way out of the league's forgotten pile, she was finally proving she wasn't just filler. And now it's all ripped away in one cruel snap. The comeback story's dead, and the hole she leaves isn't getting patched anytime soon.
Including the starting point guard that was filling in for the other starting point guard.
Especially with Caitlin down. And when Caitlin was back, she was getting DMPs, and she was happy out of the DMPs. And she was coming back in and playing. She played 30 minutes in one of those games.
Coulson and McDonald weren't just warm bodies at point guard. They were the duct tape holding this team's offense together while Caitlin Clark was out. With ball handling already a disaster and floor leadership practically non-existent, they were the only thing keeping this roster from flat out imploding. Now, the thin ice they were skating on just cracked wide open.
While Ari McDonald suffered a broken bone in her right foot during the fourth quarter. My goodness, guys. Ari McDonald was giving us production. Ari McDonald was doing what she had to do to get us up to speed with everything, with Caitlin going out, Sydney Coulson, Ari McDonald out for the season.
Lose one point guard and you scramble. Lose two in the same night, both gone for the season, and you're not scrambling anymore. You're free falling. That's not just a lineup problem. It's a structural collapse, and the Fever have no safety net, no quick fix, and no miracle hiding on the bench. This is what the bottom falling out looks like.
Trade deadline? Oh my God. On top of it, the trade deadline just came and went. You can't do it. Wow. I mean, literally 4 days ago, if you could figure the salary out, you could trade for somebody, maybe.
The WNBA trade deadline's long gone, so forget about some miracle blockbuster to save the season. The salary cap's a straitjacket. The guaranteed contracts are concrete blocks, and bringing in anyone new means gutting your own roster. Cutting a current player just to plug one gaping hole. It's not just bad timing. It's a no-win trap of their own making.
If Ari is injured, they have a hardship slot. If Ari is not injured, they have 10 health.
Sure, hardship exceptions exist, but they're nothing more than a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And let's be real, finding an experienced, game-ready point guard this late in the year, that's not a search, that's a mirage. You'll chase it until you collapse, and it'll still vanish when you get close.
Experienced last night in last night's blowout loss, the Indiana Fever lost by 35 points from the Phoenix Mercury. In last night's game, Sydney Coulson just experienced an ACL tear.
The game against the Mercury won't be remembered for the score. It'll be remembered as the night the Fever's season broke in half. What was already a desperate uphill slog just to sniff the playoff hunt has now turned into a survival exercise, and the odds aren't kind.
It is what it is. Like it's getting very close to just writing off the Fever season. Thank God they had that 5-game win streak, because like the Indiana Fever, look, the Indiana 20 games makes the playoffs. I don't know when Caitlin comes back.
Now, with two of their only active point guards wiped out, that fight isn't just uphill. It's a climb straight up a cliff with no rope. Unless a miracle crashes through the door, this is the night we'll mark as the point where the Fever's playoff hopes stopped wobbling and started crumbling for good.
Clock is ticking, if not running out, on Caitlin Clark. But of course, if she did return and she did take over this team and she did take it on a deep playoff run, that would have to be a healthy Caitlin, healthy physically, healthy mentally.
And that's why every eye in the building is about to lock on one person. Because without Caitlin Clark, the Fever aren't just short-handed, they're marooned on a sinking ship with no paddle and no rescue in sight.
Now, it did not look good after that Phoenix game last night. It was getting where the Ari McDonald had a boot on. Sid Coulson went down, and it looked very similar to the month of June. The Indiana Fever basketball team is more than likely struggling at the point guard position yet again.
With Sydney Coulson and Ari McDonald both officially done for the season, the Indiana Fever aren't just missing two names on a roster, they've been gutted. This isn't a hiccup, it's a full-blown roster crisis that rips into the core of how this team functions. And there's no quick fix hiding in the wings.
If Ari's okay, they've got 10 healthy players. When you've got 10 healthy players and one of them is, you've got a half a point guard, it's very clear that Stephanie White does not, Chloe Bibby is not part of Stephanie White's plan.
On paper, the Fever still have 10 healthy players. In reality, that number's a lie. a padded stat that hides just how thin, exposed, and unprepared this roster really is.
It is not possible for the Indiana Fever to go out with more than 10 players the rest of the year. They have 2 rest of season injuries on guaranteed contracts. They can't go out with more than 10 players the rest of the year. And the problem is the coach doesn't like playing 3 other players. The coach doesn't like playing KK. The coach doesn't like playing Chloe Bibby. And the coach doesn't like playing Bree Turner. Bree Turner just stinks.
Head coach Stephanie White clearly doesn't trust parts of her bench, and it shows. The so-called rotation is a skeleton crew, with her leaning on just 7 players in multiple games, even when warm bodies were sitting right there. It's not depth, it's denial.
The Indiana Fever injuries woes only get worse in blowout loss versus Mercury. So again, like it just kept getting worse. Okay, it's bad enough they lost Caitlin Clark. My Angel Reese is gone for who knows. We don't know when Caitlin coming back. We don't know when Angel Reese is coming back.
Now, with both point guards gone, the Fever's depth chart isn't just thin, it's see-through. Point guard is the heartbeat of an offense, the one position you can't fake your way through. And in Indiana, that heartbeat has flatlined. All 3 primary ball handlers are on the shelf, and what's left is a gaping hole right where the offense is supposed to live.
She tore her groin so badly that she's already been privately ruled out for the rest of the season. Yet the league wants to keep the media and the fans in the dark about this so that people keep tuning in, figuring
Coulson and McDonald are done for the year, and Caitlin Clark is still grinding her way back. With no true floor general left, the Fever are now duct-taping together an offense, shoving Kelsey Mitchell, a pure scorer, into a role she's not built for, and forcing Sophie Cunningham to run point despite not being a real ball handler. It's desperation, disguised as a game plan.
Leah go play point guard at the weekend, or like against Chicago. But like, this is grim. Like, there are 2 players that are going to be insane.
They're even having Aaliyah Boston bring the ball up at times, the kind of movie you only see when the playbook's on fire. It's a flashing neon sign of just how desperate things have gotten. And the roster rules only twist the knife. The WNBA's hardship exemption lets a team temporarily patch a roster when injuries pile up, but it's a stopgap, not salvation.
We're going to be huge. Like Coulson's still going to be around there. When Caitlin comes back, it's not like when Caitlin comes back, they're in a bad spot. But the thing is, with the 2 of them out, they're able to get someone on a hardship. But if they want to replace 2 for 2, they have to cut one of them.
But to replace both Coulson and McDonald, the Fever would have to clear a roster spot, which means someone's getting dumped mid-season. The name circling the rumor mill is Chloe Bibby, freshly signed for the rest of the year, yet glued to the bench in Stephanie White's rotation. It's the kind of awkward, messy decision that screams instability.
They have to choose to do one of 2 things. They have to choose to waive the shot clock or waive the injured player in Coulson.
The other option, and the one that would really set off fireworks, is waiving Coulson outright to free up a permanent roster slot, even while she's injured. Fans are already tossing out replacement names, with Kennedy Carter leading the chatter, a proven scorer and legitimate point guard, but also a walking locker room headache. She's talent wrapped in trouble, and signing her would be betting the season on a live grenade.
And we can sign a hardship player. We can't even sign Grace Berger. Do you know how bad it is when we can't even sign Grace Berger?
Some fans are pining for a Grace Berger reunion, a sharp playmaker now stuck in Dallas, but her contract slams that door shut. And the real kicker? Most of the league's reliable backup guards are already locked up. The trade deadline is in the rear view, and even dangling a draft pick won't buy a lifeline. That's why losing Coulson and McDonald doesn't just hurt, it guts the team.
Everyone other than Sophie Cunningham is at fault. Caitlin Clark is at fault for not standing up to her teammates all the time. For her teammates at all times. Yeah, she did do it once against Angel Reese when she shoved Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard's at fault. Lexi Hull's at fault.
The only realistic way forward is either a bold signing that changes the team's energy or the return of their franchise centerpiece. And that's where the pressure shifts squarely onto Caitlin Clark's shoulders.
Do you take a chance on a journeyman? Do you take a chance on a WNBA vet? Do you take a chance on a young player? But I don't know what.
Some fans dream about bringing back Grace Berger, a sharp, steady playmaker now parked in Dallas, but her contract slams that fantasy shut. The bigger problem? The league's best backup guards are already spoken for, the trade deadline is dead and buried, and even dangling a draft pick won't shake loose a savior. That's why losing Coulson and McDonald isn't just bad luck, it's a gut punch that leaves the Fever staggering.
So, Sophie Cunningham says she good after leaving the game with the left ankle injury, then returning, coming off the bench in the second half.
The Fever aren't just short-handed. They're boxed into a strategic dead end with no clear path to adding real talent and not a single natural point guard left to run the floor. It's checkmate in the middle of the season.
Think about this. She had played 185 straight games through college in her rookie WNBA season, 185 straight without missing one because of injury. And now this season, she has missed games 4 different times with various leg pulls.
Every possession is now a grind. Every opponent's defense feels like a wall. And every mistake is a spotlight on how thin this team really is. The timing, brutal. The playoff race is squeezing tight, and Indiana's margin for error isn't just shrinking, it's disappearing.
The Indiana Fever and what they can do in free agency, well, not in free agency, what they can do to fix their point guard situation.
The only real way out of this mess is either a miracle signing that jolts the team back to life or the return of their franchise centerpiece. And that means all the weight now drops squarely onto Caitlin Clark's shoulders. Fair or not, the season's hopes are riding on her alone.
Rush Caitlin Clark back, though. She's going to have to play. I mean,
right now, the Indiana Fever season is balanced on a knife's edge, and the only person who can tilt it back their way is Caitlin Clark. Everyone else can talk tough, but let's be real. Without Clark, the blade tips the wrong way.
Completely, she saved her career, and Sid Coulson has had the biggest role she's had in quite a while, especially with Caitlin down. And when Caitlin was back, she was getting DMPs, and she was happy out the DMPs, and she was coming back in and playing. She played 30 minutes in one of those games.
Before Sydney Coulson and Ari McDonald went down, the plan was to ease Caitlin Clark back, making sure she was truly ready before she set foot on the court again. That luxury just got torched. Now, with no true point guard left, the Fever are one bad possession away from the offense caving in under the strain of desperate improvisation.
They have 2 rest of season injuries on guaranteed contracts. They can't go out with more than 10 players the rest of the year. And the problem is the coach doesn't like playing 3 other players. The coach doesn't like playing KK, the coach doesn't like playing Chloe Bibby, and the coach doesn't like playing Bree Turner. Bree Turner just stinks.
Kane isn't just the Fever's best player. She's the engine, the steering wheel, and the gas pedal all in one. Her vision bends the floor in ways no one else on the roster can touch. Her deep shooting forces defenses to panic and overextend. Her leadership is the only thing keeping this team from unraveling in high-pressure moments. Even when she's not scoring, she warps the game. And without her, opponents can defend Indiana straight up. No fear, no respect.
I would assume they would try to sign her for the rest of the year. If they don't want her to get away, what a mess.
You put Caitlin Clark back at the controls of this team with this depth, and the Fever could win it all. They could. They could win it all. 15 games remain before the playoffs commence on September 14th, so the clock is ticking, if not running out, on Caitlin Clark. But of course, if she did return, and she did take over this team, and she did take it on a deep playoff run, that would have to be a healthy Caitlin. Healthy physically, healthy mentally.
She opens space for shooters like Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham and gives Aaliyah Boston room to actually work inside. The catch? Bringing her back too early is playing with fire. Push it and you risk aggravating her condition. And with the Fever's entire future tied to her, one setback could be catastrophic. The reality is brutal. They either gamble with their franchise or watch the season bleed out.
Ari played in China last season. So, look, there's a chance that she's ready to play in the playoffs in China and make good money over there. But for Sid Coulson, it's kind of heartbreaking for Coulson because it might actually be the last time she plays Pro Bowl. I'm sure Sid Coulson is going to be fine. I'm sure she's going to be on some sort of color commentary, whether it be for Athletes Unlimited. I think she's enough involved in AU to should probably stick with that. Whether it be in Athletes Unlimited, whether it be in Unrivaled, whether it be with the WNBA next year, whether she retires, I don't know. There is a good chance that Sid Coulson retires and the Fever the Fever just kind of help her get back to normal. And
without her, Indiana is teetering on the edge of vanishing from the playoff picture entirely, or stumbling in as an 8th seed with zero hope of advancing. And it's not just the standings taking the hit. This team has been drilled with blow after blow all season, and losing 2 guards in one night was a body shot that knocked the wind out of the locker room. Right now, they're gasping for a spark.
The reason why I'm such a big fan of Grace Berger is that you can see when she plays with Paige, when she gets the ball, she's not looking for hers. She's looking to get the ball back to Paige. She is always looking to get the ball to better players. And the WNBA has a severe shortage.
Her comeback would flip the scouting report overnight. Right now, opponents bully the Fever's replacement ball handlers into coughing up turnovers, swarm Boston with no fear of a kick-out 3, and control the pace without breaking a sweat. With Caitlin on the floor, that whole defensive blueprint gets shredded.